Hello, people of YouTube. Wow, that was weird intro. I decided to do random intros instead of just hello. How you doing? Like, thought it'd be spice it up. Maybe next time we'll come down for the roof. That's impossible. But yeah. Anyway, off topic. How's it going, guys? It is Cal again, and pretty much today I want to talk to you about a big aspect of my life. I'm really quite a nerd, so I like video games. Yep. Boo! But no, like I wanted to talk about video games because it's kind of a weird concept these days. Obviously, back in the day, when video games were quite popular among a different class of boys, I'd say in their teenagehood, yeah, with you got those people really sporty, and then like video games, like stuff, even board games like Dungeons and Dragons were like really frowned upon and nerdy. Yeah, and it was still with video games. But then with the invention of like the Wii and the Xbox Connect and stuff like that, people started to see video games a lot differently, a lot ways to be interactive, like an interactive movie that they can control and restart as much as they want. So then it became like a popular thing. And then with the invention of online gaming on consoles and stuff like that, suddenly people who were just playing single-player games could now expand that story with their friends. But they didn't all need to be in the same room. And so it became kind of like an isolated way to stay connected, quite like social media. And then people started filming that and putting it on YouTube. For example, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, they all react to the games that they're playing. And people started watching that, and it became a whole big thing. So, what are video games to me? I like video games because it's a way to tell a story. Now, I'm not really talking about, like, Call of Duty or GTA or, Skyrim, who don't really, like, focus on concept and story. It's more, what can they sell out? Like DLCs, downloadable content, or as it's not abbreviated as, or like expansion packs as people call it. It's just the whole thing, what more can we add to the game? And that's what companies have been selling. But I've always been a fan of the games that tell a story. For example, Final Fantasy, particularly Final Fantasy VII. I can remember my older brothers playing it on the PS1, which I think I sold. I might still have it. I know I've got a PS2. I really want to play my PS2. But, stories in games were just something completely different that you can't put in a movie or a TV show because of the limitations of the human body. But with video games, quite similar to anime, there was none of that. It's all animated. It's what somebody's drawing, and people can tell a completely different story that's interactive. And with games like Final Fantasy VII, you get that connection that you would feel for a movie. For example, I know many teenage girls who have cried over the Titanic. And many people have gone, why are you crying over the Titanic? It's not that sad. Or it's not that, real. Or obviously it's based on a true story, but it's not happened. Leonardo DiCaprio has now won an Oscar. That was back in his teenage years. It's not real. Yeah, but people still get connected to it, and still are connected to it to these days. Because they're connected to the story. In Final Fantasy VII, there's a famous scene where Sephiroth jumps down with his katana Masamune and stabs Aerith through the stomach. That scene is so iconic in video games, particularly with the JRPG genre. And the reason for that is because suddenly this character that you've built, you've played, like you've used this character, you've expanded upon, leveled them up, like spent so much time and effort into them, has suddenly just gone. Story, they're dead. And people were, one, frustrated, like why could that happen? And two, sad. And it's weird how video games can do that. It's weird how people react to video games in a sense as they would react to something that's happened in their own life. Like real emotions. And video games to me, like, when a video game can do that, I find it just mind-blowing. Because there's this story, and it's an epic story, something that is not contained by the reality of the real world. It's just expanded upon with fantasy and sci-fi and space and things. There's a cat. Hello. That was, yeah, I have a cat. Good fact. But as I was saying, I should really kick out the cat first before I make a video. Oh well. But as I was saying, video games can just do that. They're not confined to reality. And so, when I kind of look at the popularity of video games like Call of Duty, where the storyline literally takes me a day to complete, because I'm not saying they're not fun, like, Call of Duty is amazing when you have friends around, like, and all of you are playing, you're fighting with each other against a horde of zombies. Yeah, it's fun. When somebody dies, they help them out, it's just a fun experience, but what I'm talking about is when I can complete the storyline of Call of Duty in a day, it doesn't thrill me. I don't feel attached to any of these characters. I don't feel involved with the story. And it's just a sad thing. Because if they expanded upon the story, it'd be amazing. Call of Duty is such a big concept anyway, but if they had a really great story, I feel like it could be something more. And I'm saying, storytelling, like Final Fantasy, is just hard to accomplish when you got something so much into one game. But then I just find a lack of appeal with games that don't have a story. And so when I'm playing games like Assassin's Creed, which is delved so much into history, and I just love history, by the way. Ancient history is just amazing to me, but mind-blowing stuff. But when something like Assassin's Creed delves into that, changes it, shapes it into its own, and you get involved with a story, it's just an amazing feeling. And so I'm not saying, like, go out and play Final Fantasy VII, like, buy a PS1 and play Final Fantasy VII. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, you probably should, it's an amazing game. But I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, even though people spend so much time playing on games like Call of Duty and GTA, involve yourself in a story. It can be any game. Any indie game, like, whatever that's coming out these days on Steam and stuff like that. But also, games like Legend of Zelda and stuff like that. Involve yourself in a story. Because guaranteed, people, you will find that this whole new place, this whole new world, will open up in your mind. That's just a great feeling. So please, if you take anything away from this video other than this guy is an idiot, just a casual gamer, please, involve yourself in the story. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stay good.